What is up, everybody? It's Matt from Go Ranger. Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be going over 9 different tips for Eevee Community Day. But first, if you haven't downloaded Go Ranger yet, it is a companion app for Pokemon Go that has things like event timers with countdowns for upcoming events and active events. It's got raid guides, it's got an egg checklist, it's got checklists for any Pokemon that you want to make and you want to track your collection. You can do that right in the app. You can check it out at goranger.app and it'll have links to Android and iOS, or just search for Go Ranger in the App Store. There's also a web version available at that URL too. But without further ado, let's dive into Eevee Community Day. First off, I just wanted to start kind of telling a little bit about the event, and then we'll dive into the tips. So unlike previous community days, this event is actually 2 days. It takes place this Saturday and Sunday. If you want to get the specific times for your time zone automatically converted, check out the app. Those will be in there for you. So it's 3 hours each day where Eevee spawns are going to be all over the place. You're barely even going to be able to walk around in the game and not stumble upon an Eevee. Shiny Eevee will also be available. It'll spawn at about a 1 in 22 rate. So hopefully you can get enough across both days to get all of the evolutions. We'll talk about that in a minute. Now, Eevee will also know the special move Last Resort. It's a normal type move. We don't have guaranteed information about its stats quite yet, but the evolutions, when you evolve a Pokemon, you get, a Flareon, a Jolteon, will also know Last Resort. Now remember, you can't use TMs on this move, so you have to either catch Eevee during the event to get it, or evolve Eevee during the event to get it. Now, if you evolve between the 2 days, so Saturday night, it's also going to know that move Last Resort. Now, during this whole thing, as you're spinning Pokestops during the event, they'll be giving out quests that are normally things like Catch 3 Eevee that have these rewards as you go. So all quests are also going to be transformed into those. Also, lures during the 3-hour windows will last for the full 3 hours. So don't drop lures before the event starts. Once the event starts, drop lures on all the stops you're going to be playing at, and those will all last for the duration of the 3-hour window, or, longer if you drop them later than that. Now, it's also going to be 3 times catch Stardust. So that's a huge bonus, definitely something to be aware of when you're out catching. You're going to want to catch a lot of Pokemon to get a lot of star pieces. So, without further ado, let's dive into the 9 tips. So tip number 1, you're going to want to be pre-walking Eevees before the event starts. So right now, you're going to be walking an Eevee if you haven't started walking one already. Make sure you switch your buddy to an Eevee. So the reason you want to do that is walking an Eevee for 10 kilometers is what gets you Espeon or Umbreon. So if you've got, a 96% Eevee right now and you want to turn it into an Espeon, start walking that buddy right now and get it to 10 kilometers. Once it's at 10 kilometers, switch to a different Eevee and start walking a different Eevee 10 kilometers. Basically, the more Eevees you can have with 10 kilometers walked for this event, the better. Don't evolve them yet, just keep them walked 10 kilometers, okay? Now, when you evolve them during the event or between Saturday and Sunday, they have to be your buddy to evolve into Espeon or Umbreon. So if you walked 5 of them and 4 of them are no longer your buddy, when you evolve those, you're going to want to make them your buddy again and then evolve them in order to get Espeon or Umbreon. So evolving one that's walked 10 kilometers and is currently your buddy during daytime in the game will get you an Espeon with that special move Last Resort if you're, during the event windows or between them. And evolving it during the nighttime, so Saturday night, will get you an Umbreon. All right, tip number 2. Make sure you're using your special items, especially star pieces. So star pieces are going to be the number 1 thing. You're going to want to run star pieces during both 3-hour windows of this event because you're going to be getting 4.5 times Stardust for every catch you get if you're running a star piece. So right now is the time they are most valuable. Now there's also supposed to be a Community Day box coming out. That's a special box in the shop if you want to spend some real money. My bet, that box is going to have star pieces in it. So if you need some, I'd hold out, wait until that box goes live, and see if you can get a special deal on those star pieces. Now, other items, you might also want to use lucky eggs and incense during the event just because you're going to be out playing for a long time, very hardcore for, 3 hours each day. So lucky eggs for the experience, incense to just increase your ability to get those Eevee spawns. And then when it comes to actually catching Pokemon, you're probably going to be wanting using pineapple berries for anything that's a low CP. So like 200 CP, if you're doing like great curveballs as well, probably up to like 300 CP, be sure you're using those pineapple berries to get those extra candy. Tip number 3, don't stop early on day 1. So in the past community days, we've had this thing where you have to evolve during the community day window in order to get the special move. So I don't know about you guys, but I always stopped like 20, 30 minutes early, appraised all my Pokemon during the event window when I could have been catching more so that I could evolve them before the window stopped and get the special move. Now, since this is a 2-day event, you don't have to do this time, right? You don't have to stop early to appraise or anything like that. So day 1, don't stop early, play for the entire 3 hours, catch as many Eevee as possible. Tip number 4, stop early on day 2. So the special move Last Resort will be unavailable the second the event ends on day 2. So on Sunday, it's going to end. So Sunday, you will have to stop, 20, 30 minutes, whatever you're comfortable with early. Start appraising any Eevees that you've got so that you can evolve them before the event window ends and get that special move. All right, tip number 5. We're working a little bit differently this time because it is a 2-day event. So Saturday night is actually prime time for preparing for the next day as well as getting your Umbreon. So Saturday night, after the event ends, appraise all the Eevees that you caught that day, favorite, maybe name any good ones that you want to evolve, maybe transfer all the other ones, or if you want a chance at a lucky Eevee, trade any, bad Eevees with your friends to try to get lucky ones. Now, evolutions made between the 2 event windows, so Saturday night, will still know the Last Resort special move. So feel free to evolve any ones that you'd like on Saturday night as well. We'll have some evolution tricks later in a different tip. So now, the most important thing about Saturday night, though, is it will be the only time you can get Umbreon with the move Last Resort. So once it switches to nighttime, be sure that you evolve an Eevee, maybe even a shiny Eevee, that is currently your buddy and has walked 10 kilometers to get Umbreon with that special move. All right, tip number 6. In order to make it easier on yourself during appraising, use a 100% search string. So 100% Eevees, no matter what level they are, have a preset combination of CP values that they can be, which makes it easier to search for them. So if you go into the Go Ranger app, go to the Eevee Community Day event page, at the bottom of that, there's going to be some text that you can copy you can put into the search box on your Pokemon page, and it's going to pop up, less amount of Eevees than you currently have that have these specific IV combinations that could be 100%. Doesn't guarantee that they are 100%. You'll still have to go appraise all of them, but at least it's less Eevees than, the hundreds or more that you have caught during the event. So use that 100% search string and check that out. Tip number 7, walk your shiny Eevee right away. So if you get a shiny Eevee during the event, you're most likely going to want to start walking that immediately because you need to get 10 kilometers walked if you want to get a shiny Espeon or a shiny Umbreon with the move Last Resort. You need to evolve those during the actual event windows or between them, which means that you might have to walk 20 kilometers if you want one of each with the special move. So walk those the second you get a shiny Eevee, start walking that buddy, maybe appraise them as you go to see if you get any better ones that you can swap out buddies with. But, walk 10 kilometers, evolve one during the day to get a shiny Espeon with Last Resort, walk 10 kilometers, evolve one during Saturday night to get a shiny Umbreon with the move Last Resort. All right, tip number 8, the naming trick. So as of right now, and I don't think they're going to launch this for the event, there are no evolution stones or anything for the evolutions, right? So Flareon, Jolteon, and Vaporeon are all random. Now, if you have 9 of them and you're just kind of evolving those shinies, I think 9 of them, that's you like a 90% chance to get one of each. So that'll kind of be your target. The only guaranteed evolutions are walking that Espeon and Umbreon. So in the game, there are name tricks that give you the ability to guarantee Flareon, Jolteon, Vaporeon, Espeon, and Umbreon, but you can only use them once per account. So if you already use them on your account, you can't use them again. If you haven't done this yet and you've been saving, now might be a good time to guarantee a shiny evolution of each one. So if you haven't used these name tricks, you only need, 3 to 5, depending on if you want to walk or not, different shiny Eevee to get all of the current evolutions. So those right now, Flareon, you have to name your Pokemon Pyro. You name your Eevee Pyro and evolve it, and it'll turn into a Flareon. Name your Eevee Rainer and evolve it, and it'll turn into a Vaporeon. Name your Eevee Sparky, evolve it, and it'll turn into Jolteon. Name your Eevee Sakura, evolve it, and it'll turn into Espeon. Or name your Eevee Tamao, evolve it, and it'll turn into an Umbreon. Now, you're probably also going to want a couple extra shiny Eevee just for the future evolution. So we've got Glaceon, Leafeon, and Sylveon that will be released in later generations. So I would personally keep a few shiny around, and there's probably going to be name tricks for those too. So don't evolve them the second those evolutions come out. Wait until we figure out if there are name tricks for those new ones and evolve your shinies at that point to get those Pokemon in shinies. All right, tip number 9, just make sure you have fun. Participate in the community. These are community days. You're going to be out and about. There are going to be a ton of people playing Pokemon. So make sure that you're, hanging out with your friends, playing with your friends, meeting people during this event, meeting other trainers just like you is kind of one of the biggest part of the events for me. Also, since these are big 3-hour events where everyone is out and about, right before the event window or after the event window is actually a really good time to go raiding because you've got a ton of people out with you as well. So before or after the events, make sure you hit up a few raids. You might even get an EX pass to get that Mewtwo if that's something that you're interested in. Make sure that you're raiding at, EX pass eligible gyms to get that. All right, guys, so that was my 9 tips for Eevee Community Day. If you follow all of these, you'll kind of be able to kind of maximize the what you'll get out of these community days. So hope this was helpful to you guys. Hit up the app at goranger.app. Download it on iOS or Android, or just search Go Ranger in the App Store. Till next time, peace.